one voice when we represent ourselves in the public. And that leads me into what happened with the Queen Mine. On Friday of, what's today? Today Saturday? Okay, not yesterday, but the other Friday. I think it was Friday, August 9th. I was invited to a meeting at Freeport. Freeport's office is here with 4 other employees, or 3 other employees of the city, and a council member. So it was me, Council Member Smith, Chief Elkins of the police department, because he was acting city manager, and he still is this week, during Mr. Potkin's absence. Mr. Klimek from Public Works was there, and Doug Brandt from the Queen Mine Corps. So we meet very regularly with Freeport. This was a regularly scheduled status meeting on some of the projects they have, but they also informed us at that meeting that the level of radon in June 2012 was exceedingly high, and that we talked a little bit about perhaps why, and ventilation, and the new door that we had put in. The level was, I think, lower than OSHA standards 3 months earlier, and a little higher 3 months before that. So they monitor quarterly. So we were informed that the levels of radon were higher in June, and that on Monday of this week that just passed, we would be receiving a 60-day termination of our lease notice. It wasn't put in writing. We discussed what would happen as a result of a lease termination and how devastating it would be to the community, and that we would continue discussions. There was a press release that was issued by Mr. Potkin, and he can do that, but my concern was that in a situation that is so important and significant to our community, where that facility brings in, last year, 43,000 visitors, etc. I wanted an opportunity for us to discuss as a council and as staff of the city how to respond to the information that perhaps the lease was going to be terminated. Instead, Mr. Potkin issued a press release that scared people and said that the mine was closing. So, I'm telling you all of that. I don't want to belabor all of that because I think you've read it and you can ask me some questions. But I'm telling you that more than anything because of what happened and because of the need, I think, for all of us to sometimes calm down a little bit, wait for the next day, or go ahead and type your message or do whatever and then hit the delete button or put it in your draft folder, because there are things that we get excited, and there is so much input. There are so many individuals who were at that meeting who could have heard the message differently, and that's normal. That's human nature. So we shouldn't assume things and jump the gun sometimes on something. So I'm telling you that too, because if the mine had closed, the Queen Mine Tour had closed, or when it closes, if it ever does, in our lifetime, I hope that we can develop another plan for what we want in Bisbee, because what scared us about that was most of our eggs are in that basket in terms of visitors to Bisbee. And it freaked us out because we thought, now what are we going to do? And really, if we had just calmed down a little bit and realized that's really not all we have. But it feels that way. And when the press release was issued and said we're going to lose $500,000 in our budget, the mine tour is going to close, I had calls beginning Friday night all the way through Sunday night, and people coming to my door thinking that the mine tour was going to close on Monday. There was an email message that Mr. Potkin sent to staff that said the Queen Mine's going to close on Monday, and that was not true. So we need, as a community, number one, to try to be a little bit kinder with each other, and when people make a mistake on Facebook, because we make mistakes. I'm going to tell you that Tamara Page said, and you all know this, that she was 100% sure of her comments. I know her. Her intent was not a negative intent. It was not a bad intent. She was asked to do that. She was trying to help, but she was not at the meeting. The person who told her to say what she was asked to say was not at the meeting. So what I'm saying is good intentions and good intent sometimes ends up blowing up in our faces, so we have to be careful. And I'm glad that we're down here and not upstairs because there are an awful lot of tourists up there. So, as a community, we can air our differences and talk, but we don't want to do that in public. You know, our moms always told us not to air our dirty laundry in public. We have to be careful about that. The other thing that really concerned me about all of this is we know, and this is, you know, the press is here, we have to be careful what we do at the state level. We have had a level of discussion on Facebook and by email and the newspapers about how we do not support the government. And we have, in my opinion, very valid reasons why we don't support the government. But when I was putting the list together of individuals that I wanted all of you and that I was going to contact with regard to the Queen Mine tour, and it came to the governor's name, I thought, just human nature again. Does she even know who we are in Bisbee? Is she going to care about our issues? Is she going to, you know, as a leader of Arizona, I think she cares. But Bisbee is a little tiny problem in a long list of things that she has to do. And just how much attention is she going to give to our concern? So the fact that we have freedom of speech and that we can say what we think doesn't mean that it doesn't have consequences. So, you know, I'm sounding more like a mom and like I'm scolding everybody this morning. But I think sometimes we need to try to do that. And I'm not upset, but I think we need to just try to figure out as a community how we're going to deal with each other when we have a significant situation like that.